You're
would-
gonna just read whatever it even puts up there? Anchorman?
Well, yeah, Anchorman. I read it smooth right off the bat. Hello to one and all. How are y'all doing? Welcome to the first episode of Scotoma Podcast. I'm C. Gale, aka Molly Monroe, accompanied by
Yoletta, also known as B.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about the 2020 stimulus package, what it means to you. We're going to be touching on the checks and getting into some of the details and the unemployment benefits.
So first of all, I guess what is a stimulus package? That's what we want to know, right? So by definition, it's a package of economic measures put together by a government to stimulate a floundering or failing economy.
Definitely failing.
Mm-hmm. But what's the point of it? What is it supposed to do for our country?
Well, the objective of the stimulus package is to reinvigorate the economy and prevent or reverse recession by boosting employment and spending. And that's basically just saying that the government is going to give you money pretty much so you can give it back. That's going to help out the economy. That's going to help out big business. That's going to have businesses that weren't doing that well. All of a sudden, you're spending all your money in the store. Now they need new employees. It's kind of just like a roll around thing. It's a win-win situation as an idea for the government to help out.
All right, but do you think that it's really going to work? Do you think that people are really going to go out there and spend that money like that and put it back into the economy?
In some cases it has. The stimulus package of 2008 was $168 billion. That was under Bush. But a lot of people said that it was up for big business. It was a business tax relief that gave the companies the incentive to expand that year. But it wasn't enough to create actual new jobs. So it's like they didn't give enough money to people as they did to actual companies. So a lot of people felt as if their checks arrived a little too late and they didn't receive enough. And it resulted in only about 20% of them actually spending the check. So you got to think that we give out $168 billion, which of course all the 168 doesn't go directly to the actual U.S. citizens, but a lot of it did. But in the end, only 20% of them actually spent the money. So you give $100 to 10 people and you only get $200 out of them because the rest of them either put it in their savings or they spend it on their actual bills as opposed to, retail things and things that they actually didn't need. As a result, it created this $500 billion budget deficit. And that resulting in a federal debt that almost doubled to $10 trillion. And that's when it goes into Obama's administration, and Obama's administration backdoors it with another stimulus package, and that one ends up being $831 billion, so a whole lot more money. And a lot of people say that it did work, and a lot of people say that it didn't, because the success was due to the lower income spending. So you think about that first package, it was only like $168 billion. They didn't give that much money to all of the citizens. The second package, is $831. So they give a whole lot more money to the people than they did in the beginning, which makes it work a little bit better. And that's why we're trying to do the same thing here. And then you got to compare that to the actual money that they're giving out now. That's even though that sounds like so much, and it was so much then. You think about now when we're talking about over $2 trillion, how big of an increase it is, how much of a risk it is, how much more they're putting on the table to see how much they can actually get back. And like we talked about the other night, it's very easy for a company to get all this money and a citizen to get all this money. And once they have all this money, but where are we actually spending the money at?
Yeah.
all the stores are closed. Curbside pickup. If you're not ordering your stuff online, then you're really not shopping. So that's what really one of my only concerns if it is going to work. When we did the stimulus package in 2009, all the stores were open. Everywhere was, you could spend the money.
Yeah.
There was no problem spending the money. So we're all going to get these checks. And yes, we're going to have this money to spend. But at the same time, what are we actually going to have to spend the money on?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because I'm thinking if I get this check, I'm going to put it in the bank. I don't really want to spend anything, not only because we're not going out to do anything and to go purchase things. I don't really need that. I think it's uncertain what's going to happen that I really why am I going to waste this money that I have when I don't really know what's going to happen, 2-3 months from now?
But a lot of people don't have any choice but to spend the money on rent and car notes and insurance. $1,200 ain't gonna go that far.
No,
to be realistic, $1,200 is not gonna go that far. Most people's rent in Texas is $1,200. Yeah. So to think about, Texas, your mortgage or your rent's gonna be $1,200. You think about people in California who are paying, $2,400 for an efficiency. So $1,200 isn't gonna really do anything, and they haven't announced anything that's gonna be reoccurring, and that's huge too. And a lot of people are talking about that. Okay, $1,200 here and now. Canada's talking about reoccurring money. So, and that's a question that a lot of U.S. citizens want to know. Okay, this is a Band-Aid on a gash. You know, okay, this little $1,200, yes, it's going to help. But at the same time, a lot of people do not have jobs. So this $1,200 isn't something that's going to be extra on top of their paycheck, but the only money that they're going to get. This is the last check coming up for so many different Americans, so many different people. We're talking about, at this point right now, we're talking about 3.5 million people on unemployment. I mean, I go on unemployment next week. I'll be added to that list. And by the time that those checks come in, I might not be able to be spending the money that I have, or I might actually be spending the savings that I have. So will it work? Me personally, I feel if it was a reoccurring check, yes, there might be a chance that it might work. Definitely, there might be a chance. But in this lockdown situation, with so many non-essential businesses closed to put that money back into, with so many different situations where you have to spend the money on what they would call, in our sense, essential things, as opposed to things that you want and need, then most of that money won't go back to where they want it to go. So, I mean, I guess it's up in the air. I'm a yes, I'm a no. You know, we get back to business. You know, if you know what they're saying by June, you know, this thing's, you know, we hit this apex, it starts coming down, and then all of a sudden people are back out, and you know, we're actually going out to eat again. You know, people are going back to the mall. Then yeah, it might work. I mean, if we are in a situation that we are in now, 3 months from now, then I can't see how it would work. I couldn't see how it would work at all.
So I still have a lot of doubts about it. I don't think that I would even spend that money, but I think I'm in a different position because I'm currently working. There's a plan for me to continue working through the summer. So I don't really need that money right now. And I think personally, because I feel like it's so uncertain where we're going and how long this is going to last, I think that we should have more money in our savings, you know, to rely on. But I know that we're in a different position. You know, we don't have the really high rent. You know, I don't have to spend it like that. And I normally don't spend like that anyway. So it's different for me in that sense. And I also think that one check, one time is really like kind of meaningless. Like, I don't think that it's going to solve anything, especially like you're saying, like for me, I can save it. But a lot of people that I know have to spend it. And so, you know, I think that I just have a different opinion of it. I think I fall in that 20% of people that's going to put it in the bank.
I mean, you being a teacher, it makes sense. It makes sense. Your job is an essential job. It's not one of the so many of the jobs that has been cut. All the jobs that don't exist anymore, all the people, you know, who are furloughed. So, and a lot, it's not like, I'm not saying a lot of people are in that position. I mean, a lot of, you know, there's a lot of wealthy people in America too, you know? So I guess it's just, it's such an, you know, person to person kind of basis, you know? You know, what's going on with this guy is going to be, you know, different than what's going on with this person. Yeah. So up next, we're going to be talking about the stimulus check and exactly the details of that. So we're going to be talking about when you're going to get it, what you need to get it, and what you have that'll keep you from getting it. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. We're talking about that stimulus check and what exactly it means. So we're going to be talking about exactly who is eligible, what exactly you need, and what might be going on with you that will keep you from getting that check, okay? All right, so to get right into it, individuals earning up to $75,000 gross are going to be eligible for a $1,200 check, okay? So from the checks will be reduced $5 for every $100 north of 75, which means if you make $76,000, your check will only be $1,150, okay? So they're going to phase that out at $99,000 or more. So that basically means you 1%ers will not get the check, but as we all know, you probably don't need it as much as we do, all right? So married couples earning $150,000 will still receive the $1,200, okay? Checks are going to phase out at $198,000 for them. And the heads of household, if you are a head of household, you're going to receive $1,200, okay? And then they can earn up to $112,500, and that'll phase out at $136,500, okay? Now, as far as children go, it's going to be $500 per child, 17 and under, okay? So, you know, if your kid is 18, that is automatically going to be a disqualification, even if they do live in your household, okay? They can get their own check on their own. Now, what you need to get it. Now, you need to have a social security number. I don't think we need to go into any details on that. So, but the social security number is going to be the most crucial right there, right? So, but at the same time, you don't need to have a taxable income. And we'll get into that a little bit later on the details, okay? But, however, if you don't typically file, you need to do so for 2019, okay? Because some people don't make enough money, they do not file their taxes, but this is imperative that those people file, because you will not receive the check if you did not file your tax return last year, or if you just didn't feel like filing, or if you were going to pay too much. You're like, no, I'm not going to do that. If you're trying to avoid that tax return last year, then that will be one of the things that will keep you from getting this check, all right? So those making above that threshold, non-citizens without green cards, and anyone who is classified as a dependent do not qualify. So those are just, just some typical examples of what's going on with you if you're not going to get the check, okay? Retirees, they will get the check, which is good. Even though they're not working there, we'll get a check. I feel like everybody needs it at this point, so retirees will get it. What is a really big thing that is in this clause, this check clause, is that gig workers will get the stimulus check, as long as they have filed those taxes. And that's what's crucial. In either 2018 or 19, I see, and I would, even though they're saying that, I would definitely want to get that tax return in as fast as possible, all right? So, most importantly, when will we get these checks? The checks are told to arrive in about, what do you say?
Like 3 weeks?
Yeah, he said 2 to 3 weeks. This is what Steve Munchin said. He said 2 to 3 weeks. A lot of people are saying that doesn't seem like that will be the case. They're saying that might not be the straight hardcore facts about it. I'm hoping that they're wrong. I am hoping that they're wrong. I mean, so let's look at it. The bill passed on the 27th. So what's that? Last Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Last Friday. Yes. So last Friday the bill passes. We're talking 3 weeks from then. Now those checks are going to be sent direct deposit, and if your income tax is direct deposit, you are sent. But the details of that were that if you had to have gotten direct deposit.
If you filed your taxes and you chose direct deposit as a way to get your income tax, then they'll direct deposit into your account.
It's automatic, right?
But if you didn't and you received a paper check, then it's going to take a little bit longer for your money because they're going to mail that check.
Well, I heard almost months.
When
I heard this 3 week thing is for the people who direct deposited, but it might take 2.5, 3 months.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it with everything that's going on. I can imagine. It's
the paper trail.
Process,
the paper trail. And I know a lot of you are like, well, who doesn't direct deposit? I mean, there's still Flintstone kids out here, y'all. there still is. What did he say? I'm unbanked.
Yeah.
I'm unbanked. So there are people like that. All right. So but just letting you know, if you didn't and you got that that real pretty U.S. Treasury check in the mail and you went and deposited, then you're not going to be getting that check in 3 weeks. You're going to be looking at a whole lot more time. And a good thing to know is there is no application for this. You don't have to go onto any website at .gov or anything. If you filed that tax return and you got that tax return direct deposited, there is nothing that you need to do except wait and hope that they're saying that they can deliver as fast as possible. All right. Okay. So the checks aren't going to be taxed, which is good, and that's a typical thing you will see in stimulus checks. So the checks won't be taxed. That's something to really think about, because I mean, we all know you get that bonus check and they are going to take quite a bit. You start making extra money and all of a sudden they're taking more money than you even had to begin with out. So they won't be taxed, and that's a great thing. Now, they did talk to Trump about another round of the checks, which is what we kind of talked about earlier, which like I said, I feel as if the stimulus package is going to actually work. It's going to take another round, maybe 2, maybe 3, to really make a difference.
Yes.
Because that $1,200 is, I mean, if you're doing good, then you can put it away. You can save it a little bit. But if you're not doing as well as others, then that $1,200 will be gone on things that you need. Yeah, necessities. You definitely want to take a look into that.
Okay, so we know now that if you didn't file your tax return, that might keep you from getting these checks. But what are some other kind of things that might disqualify you from getting that money?
You're right. Okay, I see what you did there, because I forgot some stuff. All right, these are probably the most important things. So first off, if you have defaulted on student loans, that check might not come. Almost guaranteed not to come. So if you are in default for any student loans that you have, you might not be eligible to get that check, okay? Now, another thing that is crucial, if you have defaulted or have back due child support, they will not give you that check either.
Or at least not the full amount of that check. They might deduct from that money.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. If you have back due child support, if you got back due child support, it's probably more than $1,200. You know,
Maybe.
I'm almost. I can almost.
A little hopeful.
I can almost guarantee that's a fact. All right. So those are probably two of the most important things. You know, because a lot of people will expect that, and then they don't know. Like, oh my God, like, what do you mean you got it? You know, and then I didn't get it, and then it's kind of embarrassing because we know why you didn't get it. You know, you're not
gonna put it on the
yeah. You're like,
I don't know what.
And they're coming out on the same day, so it's like, hey, you got that check? No, I didn't hit yet. Oh, we know why that didn't happen. All right, so let's just remember that, and then we want to keep y'all informed. All right, so next we're gonna be getting into the unemployment and kind of the details and kind of the timeline of what's gonna be going on with that as well. All right. Now we're going to get into the unemployment benefits from the new 2020 stimulus package. As Mitch McConnell would call it, the unemployment benefits on steroids. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into some of those details. Violetta's going to tell us things like how do you get those benefits and how long it's going to take to start to receive those.
All right, so typically it takes like 2 to 3 weeks, but due to the increase in applications and everybody who's applying for the unemployment right now, it's kind of delaying the process.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks sounds real familiar. When
I just like to say that 2 to 3 weeks.
I think they're like throwing it out like,
just
just 2 to 3 weeks.
It might work, yeah.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. That's what they said about the lockdown, too. It was 2 to 3 weeks, right?
It keeps increasing, right? So several states are going to waive the waiting period. I'm not too sure yet if Texas is one of those states that's going to waive that. But if we get any more information, we've compiled a list of resources for where you can apply for the unemployment and other local resources to help you right now during this time during the coronavirus with food and that kind of stuff. So if you follow us on any social media under Scotoma Scoop on all on social media platforms, we want to list all those resources there for you so that you can check them out.
Plug. No, it's important to remember that under that new legislation on unemployment benefits is going to restrict to 39 weeks. That's about 10 months. So typically a worker is going to get about $985 a week for 4 months. Now that's a huge increase because what they're going to get after that is going to be followed by 23 weeks of about $385 a week. And that's typically what people would have been getting a week before the stimulus package was put into place, So there is a huge increase on how much money you're going to get. And I have heard things, and, I've listened to Steve Munchin say that you should be getting close to exactly what you were getting paid before. But, we'll see exactly how that goes. Nobody's really beaten through the details and gotten through all of that fine print, okay? It is important to remember that this money is taxable. This is not like your stimulus check. They are going to tax this money. So that you have to be thinking about that. You're not going to be getting that full amount. But that's going to be what, your state benefits are and what has to do with what's going on with you locally, okay? Now, Violetta, who actually qualifies for these unemployment benefits?
All right, so one of the things is people who've been laid off, furloughed, self-employed people seeking part-time work, workers who can't reach their place of work because of COVID-19, and those who don't have sufficient work history to otherwise qualify.
So basically saying everyone.
Almost everybody,
the country then, the whole country.
So pretty much anybody. And then people who quit their job as a direct result of COVID-19, okay?
Yeah. So you could probably slide in there under, the clause. You can get in there on the carpet. So if you quit, like, say, before the virus hit, you could say, yeah, this is exactly the reason.
That's exactly the reason.
I'm not telling y'all to go out there and do that, but
okay,
if that's your situation, you might want to do it. But go ahead.
But it might help. All right, so mind you, these offices are completely overrun right now.
I heard it's bad.
It's pretty bad. So they're advising that if you don't really need that money right now, to just hold off before you apply. So, because there's a backlog of people trying to apply for unemployment.
Yes. I mean, I'm hearing, people talking about hours on hold. I'm hearing people that have been trying to apply for days and, a whole week. So really what I'm thinking is that what they're telling you is if you have a check coming in or you have savings or you have money that might hold you off for that 3-week waiting period, that you might want to wait, give it a little pause, and then go ahead and do it. It might save you, a big headache if you can wait that 6 weeks to get that check. If you cannot, I would advise you to go ahead and just go ahead and get in there, because once your name's on the list, until your name is on that list, that's the day that you can count those 21 days that they're saying or hoping and promising that you'll get that check. So that's all up to you. That's all your own financial situation. But okay, so with all that information being told to you guys, we are glad that you guys have listened today. Like, I really appreciate it. Yes. Really, truly appreciate it. This has been our first episode to, the podcast. This is going to be kind of the jump off. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of different subjects. But of course, with this coronavirus in the news and this lockdown and this international pandemic, we did have to go ahead and touch on it. Give you guys some facts, give you guys some links, give you guys some resources to let you know what's going on so there's not as much confusion, okay? So, once again, we are on all social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, and we are also on all of the podcast platforms if you guys want to check it out there. Oh, and also YouTube. YouTube, yes. Okay? All right. Well, this is Cedar Gale, a.k.a. Molly Monroe, and...
Violetta, also known as V.
All right. We will hope to see y'all on the next episode, and y'all can go ahead and listen in. It's been good, guys. Stay safe, stay sane, stay at home. Tell you that, and this is the honest to God truth, and no fault of you, and it would only be the fault of my own. But if it was up to me, none of our kids would pass to the next grade when it came time to go to school next year.
I think it's a little harsh.
No,
it's not.
A little bit harsh. It's not a little harsh. It's not a little harsh. I mean, today in between lessons, I had to come in here and take a shot of tequila just to ease my mind as to what was really going on, because the way that I see it and the way that I understand it, it's extremely frustrating beyond comprehension. And I know you're a teacher and it's probably way easier for you, but for the average parent, home learning is a nightmare. It's a nightmare that seems to be going on daily, and it's probably the worst part of mine and the kids' day.
I mean, I know. I think personally, you're the worst teacher assistant that I've ever had.
And I'll take that. I'll take it. I will take that.
And I think that it's not that bad. I think going into week 2, I think there's definitely some things that we've learned.
I think a lot of people would disagree.